Can I get started?
Yeah, for
Whenever
sure.
you're ready.
Go for it.
Ooh, okay. I am honored with your permission to dedicate to you this translation of the best novel in the Spanish language. This honor I can well appreciate, the urbanity of your character, and your firm integrity as a gentleman, a merchant, and while so ably filling the civic chair of this great city, have rendered you both distinguished and respected. Glowing hopes and confident expectations were formed of your success in the performance of the arduous duties of mayor when 2 years ago you were inaugurated. Yesterday was a yet prouder day to yourself and to your friends, when the mantle of office fell gracefully from your shoulders amid the applause and homage of citizens of all classics and shades of political opinion, the only strife among whom was who should show to the courteous, impartial, and zealous retiring mayor the greatest respect.
I want to pause
may
there
the
for
king
a
of-
second. I want to see
Okay.
if there's anything... Okay.
Yeah, it says
I
to
didn't-
the ex-mayor of the city of New York.
Didn't realize. Okay, got it. So this was translated for him, basically? Or like...
I guess, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Sorry, I was missing that bit of context. I was like, who are we talking about?
Mhm.
Okay.
He's just this is very much like this is the best translation, the best novel in the Spanish language, which
Yes.
is very Spanish of them to say. Let's just forget about Mexico, but okay, bro. I can't. Okay,
No.
where am I? Okay, well, may the king of Israel have explained, let not him, the girdeth on his harness, boast himself as he that putteth it off. Oh my gosh, sorry. Your career has been marked by the most devoted patriotism, and you have stood forth at the period of the nation's trials as an unflinching supporter of constitutional government. And throughout every loyal state in the Union will your name be revered as such. May, sir, at some far distant day, that tribute be paid to you which honored the memory of the immortal Pitt. Non sibe sed por patria viet? I don't know how to say the viet part.
Seems
With great
Latin.
respect.
Yeah, that's Latin, isn't
I
it?
was like,
Non sibi sed pro patria vicit.
oh,
Gotcha.
dang, nice, Celine. Oh, okay.
We got some
Thanks,
chatters in
everybody
here.
who speaks
Kawaii.
classical Latin just got, completely cringed from that.
Girl, the way my shoulders went back, I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
I've been slowly making my way through The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, and there's a lot of Latin in there as well. So whenever I come across a Latin, I kind of have to say it to myself. I'm like, I gotta see if I can do this. Some of those Latin passages are really
No.
long.
Can I tell you something? I don't fuck with Latin. I'm too superstitious. I'm too Latino to fuck with Latin. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not doing it. But okay. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
With great respect, I have the honor. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We're joined by Kawaii Ryan, Droder 1028, and I'm Floyd. Welcome.
Hello, welcome in, folks. Good to have you here with us.
Hello. Those all three are my mods.
Hello, mods.
Oh, gotcha.
Three of my mods. You all settle in. Okay. With great respect, I have the honor to be, sir, your obedient servant, J. Leander Starr. 1864, New York. So, yeah. If this is for, like, I guess historical context, this is still, like, a United States very much going through
yeah.
divide.
Yeah.
Whatever. I okay, sorry. We continue.
No, for sure. Also want to see when the... Doesn't say the original print date of the original Spanish text was. I guess, oh, it was 1859, right? That's what I read. Yeah. In the passage earlier. I think it was 1859.
Okay.
So this is 5 years after. Wow. So a translation was made that fast.
That's really fast,
Mhm.
considering the time. Like that's really, really fast. But also, like, the Americans liked the Spaniards. I mean, in terms of, again, like, historical context, whatever. Okay.
Why are you whatevering?
No, we
History
want to
is
know.
important.
No, I a lot of like the things and what I do, it's always about colonization. So my research is a lot about colonization of Mexico. And so when it comes to Spain, I'm always like, "Ah, what? Always mad about it. I'm like, no! Always heated. But okay, preface by the translator. Gaviota, seagull, is the sobriquet which Andalusians give to harsh-tongued, flighty women of unsympathetic mien and manners, and such was applied to the heroine of this tale by a youthful, malicious tormentor, Momo. Fernan Caballero is indeed but a pseudonym. The author of this novel, passing under that name, is understood to be a lady, partly of German descent. Her father was Don Juan Nicolas Boll de Faber, to whose erudition Spain is indebted for a collection of ancient poetry. Cecilia, the daughter of Boll de Faber, was born at Morges in Switzerland in 1797 and subsequently married to a Spanish gentleman. Indeed, since the death of her first husband, she has successively contracted 2 other marriages and is now a widow. We have it on the authority of the Edinburgh Review that the novels of this gifted authoress were published at the expense of the Queen. The same authority remarks, hence it might have been foretold that of the various kinds of novels, the romantic and descriptive was the least repugnant to the old Spanish spirit, and that in order for a writer successfully to undertake such a novel, it would be necessary for him to have a passionate attachment to the national manners and characteristics, and a corresponding dislike to the foreign and new. Such are the qualities we find united in Fernan Caballero. La Gaviota is perhaps the finest story in the volumes. Its advent is a real literary event. The most severe critics have dissected this new work, and have unhesitantly proclaim the authoress to be the Spanish Walter Scott. Among the painters of manners, the best, without doubt, are the Spanish writers. We are certain to find their truth joined to a richness and piquancy of details, and above all, a spirited tone, which singularly heightens and sets off their recitals. They have, however, what in us is a defect, but with them a natural gift, the being a little prolix. In translating it is easy to avoid this prolixity. This has been attended to in the present translation. I have preserved all the character of truth and originality of this novel, curtailing only such passages as seemed, in my judgment, too long and tedious for those who are not initiated into those agreeable familiarities of Spanish intimate conversation, and others which are without attraction to those who were not born under the bright sun of Iberia.
Can we
Iberia?
pause here for a second? What is prolixity?
I don't know. I was hoping one of you would. What is prolixity? Hold on.
This is not part of my parlance.
Prolixity. So it is a noun that means using too many words in speaking or writing. Oh, so what this author is doing in this passage.
Is he giving a little shade right now?
I'm giving some shade to this. But no, it says in translating it, it's easy to avoid this prolixity. So he's saying like of using too many words.
We made it a little less overwrought for you English
excessively
speakers.
verbose.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, in fairness, Satil, how excited did we get when Anne was just absolutely, delightfully, and unrepentantly prone to falling into excessive monologues?
I love it.
Like, yeah, so a little bit of prolixity sounds like a fantastic time and well in the vein of our comfort.
It's crazy though, because like whoever's translating something like this has so much power to change that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, localization's a big deal.
Yes, they can change that prolixity that probably makes something really great and organic in a different language, and then you completely restructure that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that sucks, but okay, prolixity. In regard to the translation, I would again quote from the review of it by the Edinburgh Review. One quality which distinguishes their talk, it is impossible to give any notion of in translation, and that is the enormous quantity of proverbs in rhyme or in assonance, with which they intersperse their speech, and even when they are not actually quoting a proverb, their expressions have all the terseness of proverbial language. In rendering into English the ballads and other poetry so profusely interspersed throughout this novel, I had to decide between the preservation of the original thoughts and ideas in all their quaintness and integrity, and wrest from my translation that poetic elegance which, as English poetry, I would have wished to have clothed it in, or to abandon all the original save the mere text and write independent stanzas in English, as though I had compressed original poetry, borrowing only the thought from the Spanish text. My habitual desire in all my translations being to preserve the original sense in its fullest force, I adopted the former of these two views, and thus, while the reader will find no poetic beauty, he will have before him the entire original thoughts.
Good.
The translation of any okay.
Yeah.
The translation of any foreign poetry into chaste and elegant English verse is acknowledged to be a very difficult task. At the end of this volume are 4 specimens to satisfy the curious of a strictly literal verbal translation of short poetic sprinklings towards the conclusion of the tale. A writer remarks on the Andalusian character, seeing nothing about them but a smiling fertility. The hierarchy of the Catholic heaven are to them beneficent beings. Ooh, it's okay.
Oh.
With trusting, yeah, it's okay. With
To
trust and
be
confidence.
approached with trust and confidence.
To be approached with trust and confidence, and the familiarity with which they speak to God, the Savior, the Virgin, and the saints must not be mistaken for irreverence. On the contrary, it springs from the belief that they are really the favored sons of the faith, and from the vividness with which they realize the existence and beneficent watchfulness of their divine protectors. And again, there is hardly a bird or a shrub or an odor about which the Andalusians have not some pious and simple legend. The white poplar was the first tree the Creator made, and therefore it is hoary as being the oldest. San Joseph told the serpent to go on its belly because it attempted to bite the infant Savior in their flight from Egypt into Egypt. Rosemary has its sweetest perfume and its brightest blossoms on Friday, the day of the Passion, because the Virgin hung on a rosemary bush, the clothes of the infant Christ. Everybody loves the swallows because they plucked out the thorns of our Savior's crown on the cross, while the owl, who dared to look impassively on the crucifixion, has been sick and afflicted ever since, and can utter nothing but cruz, cruz. The rose of Jericho was once white, but a drop of the blood of the wounded Savior fell on it, and it has been red ever since. Children smile in their sleep because angels visit them. When there is a buzzing noise in the ears, it is because a leaf of the tree has fallen.
La
Gaviota. Okay, I don't know. I think, how many pages did I do?
A lot.
A lot. Okay, cool.
About 7 paragraphs, but they were
Perfect.
prolix paragraphs.
Yeah, man, you talk about
Okay, so-
prolixity. Come on, man. He's talking up a storm.
Yeah, this is a lot of prolixity for somebody
Yeah, for
who
someone
is
who
complaining.
abridged someone's prolixity.
He's
Really?
paid by the word.
I will probably then Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
All right. Full Metal Alchemist. Chapter 1. In November, in the year 1836, the steamer Royal Sovereign took her departure from the foggy coast of Falmouth, lashing the waves with her paddle wheels and spreading her sails grey and wet in the mist still greyer and more wet than they. The interior of the hull presented the uncheerful spectacle of commencement of a sea voyage. The passengers, crowded together, were struggling with the fatigue of seasickness. Women were seen in extraordinary attitudes, with hair disordered, crinolines disarranged, hats crushed, the men pale and in bad humor, the children neglected and crying, the servants traversing the cabin with unsteady steps, carrying to their patients tea, coffee, and other imaginary remedies, while the ship, queen and mistress of the waters, without heeding the ills she occasioned, wrestled powerfully with the waves, triumphing over resistance and pursuing the retreating billows. The men who had escaped the common scourge were enabled to walk the deck, either by being so constitutioned as to withstand the ship's motion, or by being accustomed to travel. Among them was the governor of an English colony, a tall, fine-looking fellow, accompanied by 2 of his staff officers. There were several who wore their mackintoshes, thrusting their hands into their pockets. Some had flushed countenances, others blue or very pale, and generally all were discontented. In fine, that beautiful vessel seemed to be converted into a palace of discontent.
Can we pause for a second? It took everything in my power to not yell out countenance, and let me give you context behind that. When we were reading Frankenstein, Mary Shelley uses countenance so many times we had a countenance counter.
Oh.
So if that comes up again, just know if I say countenance, it's about to come up. Continue.
It'll be something we face in that occasion.
I'm so sad Baljeet's not here because he has a countenance counter in his chat.
Oh my gosh.
Am
I crazy?
How many we encountered tonight?
Isn't countenance like a very English Victorian thing, or am I crazy?
Someone's countenance refers to someone's like look on their face, in essence, basically.
Yes, but I don't think you're entirely wrong, that the word does appear fairly frequently in Victorian English writing. That said, I don't know if it's exclusively British English. But it is not something that I have paid close attention to, so I wouldn't speak authoritatively on the subject. Yes. But anyways, I'm definitely getting the impression that you are along those lines.
Going forward, though, anytime there is countenance in the text, I would encourage everyone to go countenance, and I will count it in the chat. So I will put in the chat 1 countenance.
Also, I'm sorry. I was gonna put it in the chat, but I'm just gonna do it since we're on break. Celine, what the fuck? You're incredible. What? What do you mean?
Thanks.
Girl, what?
Was Celine talking herself down earlier? What?
No, I'm just like, what? Like, you started reading, and I'm like, oh my god, it's giving voice acting. Like, what do you mean? What? It was not prepared. Like, Satil, if you're gonna come into this and blow my mind away too, like, y'all need to tell me.
You might. I am theatrically trained. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I came in just trying to do more reading. I'm so sorry. I'm not.
What do you mean you're so sorry? This is explicitly to practice reading.
I did not know the game. I did not know y'all's game, essentially. Holy shit. Okay, I'm muting. I'm sorry.
No, don't mute.
No, you have nothing to be sorry for. And
we need
quite
prolixity
to hear positive feedback.
We need prolixity.
And I will always appreciate compliments. Thank you very much for that. And your reading, for what it's worth, was quite enjoyable as well. You did a very good job with not only very readily adapting to the flow of the words, but also making sure that everything is clear, that everything is very direct. I think you've got a fantastic voice as well. Yeah. So, while we're handing out compliments, I do hope you take that to heart.
From you, I'm taking that to heart. Holy shit! I am taking that to heart. Normally I wouldn't, but I am. I'm gonna sit with that. Thank you, though. Okay, I'm muting. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
Why are you muting?
Among all the...
Why are you muting?
Because I'm eating Satil.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, what are you eating?
Honestly,
wait, I want to know. Wait,
you
wait
can't
a sec.
just ask somebody why they're muting. Wow.
I just want to talk.
I just want to talk to her. I just want to talk.
I'm eating tortilla soup.
Oh, that sounds tasty.
That sounds delicious. Okay.
Yes.
On brand.
You can now mute if you want
Honestly,
to.
Okay, muting now.
Just know that I'm jealous.
Among all the passengers was distinguished a youth who appeared to be about 24 years of age, gallant, noble, and of ingenious countenance.
Countenance?
Countenance. and whose handsome and affable face gave no signs of the slightest caprice. He was tall and of gentlemanly manners, and in his deportment there was grace and an admirable dignity. A head of black, curly hair adorned his fair and majestic forehead. The glances of his large, black eyes were placid and penetrating by turns. His lips were shaded by a light, black mustache. His bland smile indicated talent and vivacity, and his noble person, his actions, and in his gestures there were evidence of the elevated class to which he belonged, with a soul freed from the least symptom of that disdainful air which may unjustly attribute to all kinds of superiority. He travelled for pleasure, and was essentially good. Nevertheless, a virtuous sentiment of anger impelled him to launch out against the vices and extravagances of society.
As
He
a
often
haughty-taughty
affirmed that-
kind of guy, I guess.
He's not that haughty-taughty. He just doesn't want to see people having excess or vice within the context of a social trust that has been placed within them.
Okay.
I expect that people should be comported to an appropriate level of generosity given their station. Not that I'm, immediately drawn to this person or anything. Look, it's fine, it's fine.
Oh.
He often affirmed that he did not feel it to be his vocation to battle with windmills like Don Quixote. He would much more agreeably consort with those who seek the good with the same satisfaction and purity that the artless young damsel feels in gathering violets. His physiognomy, his grace, the freedom with which he muffled himself in his Spanish cloak, his insensibility to cold, and to the general disquietude around him, established decidedly that he was Spanish. He was walking backward and forward, observing at a glance the assemblage which mosaic-like chance had thrown together on those boards which constitute a large ship, and which in smaller dimensions would constitute a coffin. But there is not much to be observed in men who thus presented the appearance of those who are intoxicated, or in women whose appearance resembles that of a corpse. Notwithstanding, he was very much interested in the family of an English official whose wife had been brought on board greatly indisposed, and who was immediately carried to her berth. The same was done with the nurse and father who followed, and the infant boy in his arms. Afterward he led in 3 other little creatures, of 2, 3, and 4 years of age, enjoining upon them to remain silent and not move from thence. The poor children, although they felt inclined to cry, remained motionless and silent, like little angels which are represented in paintings at the feet of the Virgin. Little by little, the beautiful bloom of their cheeks disappeared. Their large eyes opened wide, and they remained mollified and stupid, and while no movement or expression of anger announced that they suffered, such was clearly denoted by the expression of their frightened and pallid countenances. No one noticed this silent torment, this amiable and sad resignation. The Spaniard went to summon the steward. While that official was answering, a young man who, in German and with expressive gestures, appeared to be imploring the assistance in favor of some wretched victim of seasickness. As the person of this young man did not indicate either elegance or distinction, as he spoke nothing but German, the steward turned his back, saying he did not understand him. Then the German descended to his berth in the forecastle and returned immediately, bringing a pillow, a quilt, and a heavy overcoat. With these auxiliaries he made up a kind of bed. He laid the children in it and covered them with great care, and stretched himself on the deck beside them. But the seasick man had scarcely reclined when a violent vomiting commenced, despite his efforts, and in an instant pillow, quilt, and greatcoat were bespattered and ruined. The Spaniard then noticed the German, in whose physiognomy he saw a smile of benevolent satisfaction which seemed to say, "Oh, thank God, these little ones are cared for."
I'm sorry, I
Oh.
can't.
No.
Mean! Oh my gosh. I can't. Okay, continue.
Well, I was about to Full Metal Alchemist.
Hi. I cannot. Making me hydrate. I can't.
Yes, get some good hydration in. It's important.
Insane. Please dub all my anime.
Fan dub.
Sure. Hit me up sometime.
Go back. Dang.
Going
These
back
kids. Feel bad for these kids. That's all. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no. Parents are too busy being seasick to take care of them.
Yeah.
They've got this one random Spanish guy who's just like, "Hello,
Yeah.
I will take care of you."
Yeah, meanwhile,
I
he's
think-
just kind of
Lie
like
down upon my
standing
great
aloof
coat.
and being like, you know.
Also, what is it called again? Physiognomy.
Physiognomy.
Physiognomy. Wasn't that was like the study of the skull, right?
Yeah, it kind of proto-eugenics. The
Yeah, it's a
idea of it
pseudoscience.
measuring different dimensionalities of
Yeah.
the head and other anatomical structures can give indications of various virtues or vices.
Yeah.
That's why I'm tripping out because again, like I keep comparing it to British, but I have only seen that in British Victorian pieces. So to see it in a Spanish piece, I'm like, wait, what? Okay, so then they were very much like sharing similar ideologies.
Really good way to
Yeah,
indoctrinate prejudice.
For real though.
Well, and remember that despite being a pseudoscience, there was a time where serious journals would publish about
Oh, yeah.
physiognomy.
Yes,
How
yes,
it had been
dude.
thoroughly debunked. And
Who was
so,
it? Sorry, Selene. The Brontes. Didn't the Brontes like firmly believe in it too?
You know, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
That's why I'm like, am I just saying shit? I'll look it up on the side. Like,
Nah.
I'm pretty sure.
I can understand that indication from reading Wuthering Heights, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Because I think
I got-
there's some of the serving peoples, right? They have some deformities, if I'm not wrong, that they're described.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all. Oh, I'm still with it. The Bronte
Yeah, yeah.
sisters, particularly Charlotte, did not just believe in it; they used it as a primary literary tool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Research coming in clutch.
Literally. Okay. Yes. He remembers. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we're on this boat. We're seasick. These poor children.
Yeah.
We're still believing that people's skulls can designate who they are. So,
Yeah.
okay, this is where we're
He's all
at.
like, I'm gonna protect these stupid deformed skull kids. I'm like, damn, what the fuck?
Literally.
Crazy. All right. Full Metal Alchemist.
yes, Full
Okay.
Metal Alchemist.
He attempted a conversation with him in English, in French, and in Spanish, and received no other answer than a silent inclination of the head, and with but little grace repeating this phrase, Ich verste nicht, do not understand. When, after dinner, the Spaniard again ascended to the deck, the cold had increased. He enfolded himself in his cloak and commenced promenading. I don't know why I was going to read that as promeandering, but... Then he noticed the German seated on a bench and looking at the sea, which, as if to exhibit its sparkling, displayed on the sides of the ship in its pearls of foam and their brilliant phosphoric light. This young observer was dressed very insufficiently, because his frock coat had become worn and unserviceable, and the cold must have pierced him. The Spaniard advanced several paces to approach him, but he hesitated. He knew not how to institute a conversation. Immediately he smiled, as if happy thought had occurred to him, and that he was going the right way toward it, and said to the German in Latin, "You must feel very cold." That voice and short phrase produced on the stranger the most lively satisfaction, and harmonized also with his questioner. They were in accord in the same dialect. He replied, "The night is, indeed, somewhat severe, but I was not thinking of that." "Then what were you thinking of?" demanded the Spaniard. "I was thinking of my father and mother, and of my brothers and sisters." "Why do you travel, then, if you so much feel the separation?" "Ah, senor, necessity, that implacable despot. Why not travel for pleasure? Pleasure is for the rich, and I am poor. For my pleasure. If I avow the motive of my voyage, then truly pleasure would be very far off. Where then do you go? To the war, to the civil war, the most terrible of all, at Navarre. To the war, exclaimed the Spaniard, examining the kind and docile, almost humble, and very little belligerent countenance.
Countenance
Of the German for countenance. Then you would become a military man. No, sir, that is not my vocation. Neither my affections nor my principles induce me to take up arms, if it were not to defend the holy cause of the independence of Germany, if the foreigner were to become the invader. I go to the army of Navarre to procure employment as a surgeon. You do not know the language. No, sir, but I can learn it, nor the country neither. I have never left my native town, except for the university. But you are provided with recommendations. None whatever. You count upon any patron? I know nobody in Spain. What then do you rely upon? My conscience, my goodwill, my youth, and my confidence in God. Conversation rendered the Spaniard thoughtful. He gazed on that face in which candor and docility were impressed, those blue eyes, pure as those of a girl, those smiles, sad, but at the same time confident, earnestly interested in him, and moved his pity. Will you descend with me, he said, after a brief pause, and accept some hot punch to keep out the cold? In the interim, let us converse. The German inclined his head in token of his gratitude, and following the Spaniard, they descended into the dining room. At the head of the table were seated the governor, with his 2 officers. On one side were 2 Frenchmen. The Spaniard and the German seated themselves at the foot of the table. "But how," exclaimed the first, "have you ever conceived the idea of going to this distracted country?" The German hesitated, and then related to him faithfully his life. "I am the 6th son of a professor in a small city of Saxonia, and who had spent much in the education of his sons. Finding ourselves without occupation or employment, like so many young paupers you find in Germany, after having devoted their youth to excellent and profound studies, and who had studied their art under the best masters, our maintenance was a burden on our family, for which reason, without feeling discouraged, with all my German calmness, I took the resolution to depart for Spain, where the disgraceful and sanguinary wars of the north opened up hopes that my services there might be useful. Beneath the linden trees which cast their shadows on the door of my homestead, I decided to carry out this resolution. I embrace for the last time my good father, my beloved mother, my sister Lot, and my little brothers who clamored to accompany me in my peregrinations. Peregrinations. I also believe her name is pronounced Lotte. Profoundly moved.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Profoundly moved and bathed in tears, I entered on life's highway, which others might find covered with flowers. But courage! Man is born to labor, and I felt that heaven would crown my efforts. I liked the profession which I had chosen because it is grand and noble. Its object is the alleviation of our fellows, and the results are beautiful, although the drudgery seems painful. And you made progress, Fritz Stein replied in German, inflicting an excited blow on his seat, making a slight reverence. A short time afterwards, the 2 new friends separated. One of the Frenchmen who was placed in front of the door saw that he was about to ascend the staircase and offered to place on the shoulders of the Germans his let me go back. And offered to place on the shoulders of the German his Spanish cloak, lined with fur, to which the other showed some resistance, and the Frenchman, with a look of scorn, replaced it in his berth. "Have you understood what they were talking about?" demanded he of his countrymen. "Truly," rejoined the first, who was a commission merchant. "Latin is not my forte, but the red and pale youth seems to me a species of pale Werther, and I have heard there is in his history something of Charlotte. So is it with those little children described in a German novel. By good luck, instead of recurring to the pistol to console him, he prefers punch. It is less sentimental, but more philosophical and more German. As to the Spaniard, I believe he's a species of good Don Quixote. protector of the destitute, who shares his cloak with the poor, that joined to these high allurements, his look, firm and ardent like a flame, his countenance, dull and wan like the light of the moon, form an altogether perfect Spaniard. Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist. You know, said the first, that in my quality of painter of history, I go to Tarfia with the object of painting the siege of that city at the moment when the son of Guzman made a sign to his father to sacrifice him before surrendering the place. And this young man will serve me for a model. And I am thus sure to succeed with my tableau. I have never in my life seen nature approach so near the ideal. There, then, ye gentlemen artists, always poets, replied the commercial traveler. For my part, if I am not deceived by the natural grace of this man, his lady foot well cast, the elegance of his profile and his form, I would characterize him as a tarador?
Tariador? Maybe?
Tariador? Maybe?
Yeah.
Tariador, bullfighter. Who knows, perhaps it is Montes himself, possessing the joint attractions of riches and generosity. A Tairor, cried the artist, a man of the people, you jest. Not at all, said the other. I am very far indeed from jesting. You have not lived like me in Spain, and you do not know the aristocratic type of the nation. You will see, this is my opinion. Thanks to the progress of equality and fraternity, the insulting manners of the aristocracy disappear daily, and in a short time hence they will be found only among the men of the people. Believe that this man is a traidor, repeated the artist, with a smile so disdainful that the commercial traveler, wounded by the reply, rose and said, we will know very soon who he is. Come with me. We will get information of him from his servant. I mean, nosy, but okay. The two friends mounted to the deck, where they were not going and meeting the man they searched for. The commercial traveler, who volunteered to converse with the Spanish servant, led the conversation, and after some trivial remarks, asked, your master, he said to him, has he retired to his chamber? Yes, sir, replied the servant, casting on the questionnaire a look full of penetration and malice. Is he rich? I am not his attendant. I'm only his valet de chambre. De chambre? De chambre? De chambre?
Valet de chambre.
Is he... Ooh, okay, valet de chambre. De chambre. Is he traveling on business? I do not believe he has any. Is he traveling for his health? His health is excellent. Is he traveling incognito? You know... No, sir. He travels with his name and Christian names, and he is called Don Carlos de la Cerda. An illustrious name, very certainly, cried the painter. My name is Pedro de Guzman, added the servant, and I am a humble servant to you both. He then made a very humble reverence and went away. Gil Blas is right, said the Frenchman. In Spain, nothing is more common than glorious names. It is true that in Paris, my bootmaker was named Martel, my tailor called himself Roland, and my laundress, Madame Bayard. In Scotland, there are more starets than paving stones. We are humbugged. That insolent servant is mocking us, but everything considered, I have a suspicion that he is an agent of the factions and obscure a missionary of Don Carlos. Certainly not, replied the artist. It is my Alonso Perez de Guzman the Good, the hero of my dreams. The other Frenchman shrugged his shoulders. When the ship arrived at Cadiz, the Spaniard took leave of Stein. I am obliged to remain some short time in Andalusia, he said to him. Pedro, my servant, will accompany you as far as Seville, and take a place for you in the diligence for Madrid. Here are some letters of recommendation for the Minister of War and the General-in-Chief of the Army. If it happens that you have any friendly service to ask of me, write me at Madrid to this address. Stein, stifled with emotion, could not speak. With one hand he took the letters, and with the other he pushed back the card which the Spaniard presented to him. Your name is engraven here, he said in place, laying his hand on his heart. Oh, I will not forget it while I live. It is that of a soul the most noble, the most elevated, the most generous. It is the name of the best of men. With this address, replied Don Carlos, smiling, your letters would never reach me. You must have another, more clear and more brief. And he handed him his card and departed. Dine read, the Duke of Almanza. And Pedro de Guzman, who was close by, added, Marquis de Juarlamonte, de Valdeflores, and de Locafil, Comete de Santa Clara, de Encinasala, et de Lassa, Chevalier of the Golden Fleece, Chevalier of the Golden Fleece, and Grand Cross of Charles III. Gentleman of the Chamber of His Majesty, Grande of Spain of first class. And I don't know how to say this. At sea.
I think, yeah, I think maybe etc. or, yeah. I think it's just a...
Beer.
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
And Chapter 2. One morning in October, in the year 1838, a man on foot descended a little hill in the county of Nibla and advanced towards the coast. His impatience to arrive at a little port which had been indicated to him was such that, thinking to shorten his route, he found himself in one of those vast solitudes so common in the south of Spain, real deserts, reserved to raise cattle and in which the flocks never go beyond the limits.
I wanted to pause for a second.
Okay.
I just wanted to recognize that these bros just met each other on a ship and said, yeah, you can have my recommendation. And go for it.
Yeah, literally.
Not only that, and I apologize because apparently I was muted through all of my commentary that slipped
What were you saying?
Various things, mostly pronunciation guides, like etc. But the thing that really threw me was hearing all of those French titles read with Spanish pronunciation. It was.
Oh no! Did I mess up? I'm sorry.
No, I mean I would
wouldn't say messed up. Like it was a very different take on what I would have expected those titles to sound like. So it was.
That's okay. So I saw like Juar, and I was like, oh, okay, so Juarlamonte. Like I
No, that's right. I think you're right.
In Spanish. Okay. It was
Well, Juarlamonte was probably right, but it's the Marquis de Juarlamonte.
Oh, what did I say? Okay.
I think in Spanish it would have been like Marquis, wouldn't it have been? No?
Spanish would be Marquis, yes.
Yeah. So you could say Marquis de Guadalupe.
I think I definitely I did for Insala. I said Ensenada Sala, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all good. I think most of this is Spanish.
Okay.
I apologize. Always correct me though. Like if I fuck
I
up,
recognize this mostly as I recognize this mostly as Spanish. So I don't know about that. Except for Chevalier.
I might be wrong then, and that's
Chevalier,
totally fine.
yeah. But it's definitely French.
Don't make me look like a fool, Celine. Tell my ass.
The problem is, I too am a fool.
No, don't.
We're all fools in pronunciation. We're gonna get so many words wrong. It's gonna be exciting.
That was
delightful.
delightful.
Absolutely full of ourselves.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go.
No, I'm just generally happy with these bros. And
yeah, no, that's
like
really
they just
awesome
met and they're just like hanging out. Like, yeah, man, you have my recommendation, whatever. Bro fist. It's just like
just so chill about it. I forgot where it was, but it was like he said something about how Spanish names have all this this muchness. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. I laughed at that.
Yeah, me too. I was like, bro, that where is it? Something about the names being very grand.
Okay, I read that. Caballero. Is he rich? I totally saw it too. Yeah. Right here.
Did you find it? Where is it?
Yeah. Gil Blas is right. In Spain, nothing is more common than glorious names. It is true that in Paris, my bootmaker was named Martel. My tailor called himself Roland. And my laundress, Madame Bayard. In Scotland, there are more Stuarts than paving stones.
I love the idea that, you think someone's cooler because their name is, Don Carlos de la Cerda. You know what I mean?
I know. Well, it's just like, you got a long name? Damn, that's cool, man.
That's cool. You must be legit. It's like, what do you mean? No. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, man, I've got, 50 titles. I'm the shit.
And then
Oh.
how did you react when you heard my name?
Celine Heidelman. I love your name. What do you mean?
Exactly.
You're right. Okay. Actually, you're right. That's so true.
The more
That is so
prolix the
true.
name, right?
But like, and this is, I'm gonna get bougie about it. I'm gonna get bougie about it and say like they are fetishizing. Celine
Oh,
just has a cool
totally.
ass name. Like they are. Celine just has a cool ass name. That's not the point. They are like fetishizing Spanish. And they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, you know, Don Carlos. Oh my god. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, etc., etc. Also, I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever seen at sea. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
They're
learning something
totally
new.
fetishizing. It's like as if like if there was like an anime character who was Spanish, he'd probably have like a really long fetishized name.
Literally, that's what's happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wonder if the author's like cognizant of that too.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm
It could
on.
even be meta commentary on the fact.
It could be.
That's why,
Could
yes.
be.
We'll see where it goes. But I'm wondering if she is making meta commentary about it.
Well, I mean, think
Mhm.
about it. Her full name, right? She decided to go with Fernan Caballero for her pseudonym, right?
Mm.
And so, like, she's just like, I don't want to be this. I just want to be Fernan Caballero. You know? So,
It's true. Okay. I am here, and I will probably finish this page and then Full Metal, but let
Okay.
me finish.
Sounds like fun.
Where was I? His impatience to arrive at a little port which had been indicated to him was such that, thinking to shorten his route, he found himself in one of those vast solitudes so common in the south of Spain, real deserts reserved to raise cattle, and in which the flocks never go beyond the limits. This man, although not more than 26 years of age, appeared already old. He wore a military tunic, buttoned up to the chin. On his head, he wore a common cloth cap. He carried on his shoulder a large stick, at the end of which was suspended a little casket of mahogany, covered with green flannel, a package of books, fastened together with pack thread, a handkerchief covering a little white linen, and a great cloak rolled up. This light baggage appeared to be beyond the strength of the traveler, who, from time to time, paused, supporting one hand on his oppressed chest, or passing it over his burning forehead. At times he fixed his looks on a poor dog which followed him, and which, whenever he halted, stretched himself at full length at his feet. Poor Fidel, said the master, the only being who makes me Full Metal Alchemist.
okay.
Let's see here. Who was
You
exactly
could
speaking
start
in this?
from
Yeah,
here.
the Fidel.
Alright. Poor Fidel, said the master, the only being who makes me believe there is yet a world of little affection and gratitude. No, I will never forget the day when I saw you for the first time. Thou wast with a poor herdsman condemned to be shot because he would not be a traitor. He was on his knees, he awaited his death, and it was in vain he supplicated a respite. He asked that thou shouldst be spared, and no one listened to him. The shots were fired, and thou, faithful friend of the unfortunate, thou didst fall cruelly wounded beside the inmate corpse of thy master. I rescued thee, I cured thy wounds, and since then thou hast not abandoned me. When the wits of the regiment called me a dog curer, you came and licked the hand that had saved you, as if you would say to me, dogs have gratitude. Oh, my God, I have a loving heart. It is 2 years since, full of life, full of hope and goodwill, I arrived in this country and offered to my brethren my will, my care, my knowledge, and my heart. I have cured many wounds. For a recompense they have made me feel sorrow in the most profound, and it is my soul they have lacerated. Great great God, discouragement has seized me. I see myself ingloriously driven from the army after 2 years of incessant labor without repose. I see myself accused and pursued for nothing but the having given my care to a man of an opposite party, to an unhappy man who, driven like a beast, fell dying into my arms. Is it possible that the rules of war convert into a crime what morality recognizes as a virtue, which religion proclaims to be a duty? What can I do at present? Go and repose my head prematurely bald and cure my lacerated heart in the shade of the linden trees which surround my father's house. There, at least, they will not charge me with crime for having showed pity on a dying man. After a few minutes, the unhappy man made an effort. Let us go, Fidel, said he. Move on, and the traveler and his faithful animal pursued their painful route. But soon the man lost the right path, which he had until now followed, and which had been beaten by the steps of the shepherds. The ground was covered more and more with briars and high and thick bushes. It was impossible to follow a straight line. He must turn aside alternately to the right and left. The sun had finished his course, and no part of the horizon discovered the least appearance of any human habitation. There was nothing to be seen but limitless solitude, nothing but the desert, tinged with green and uniform as the ocean. Fritz Stein, whom our reader no doubt already recognizes, perceived too late that he had placed too much confidence in his strength. With pain and difficulty, his swollen and aching feet could barely sustain him. His arteries throbbed with violence. A sharp pain racked his temples. An ardent thirst devoured him, and to heighten the horror of his situation, the deafening and prolonged bellowings announced the approach of some droves of wild bulls, so dangerous in Spain. God has saved me from many perils, said the poor traveler. He will yet protect me. If not, his will be done. He redoubled his speed, but what was his terror when, after having passed a little plantation of mastic trees, he found himself face to face with a bull. Stein remained immovable, and, to say truly, petrified. The animal, surprised at this encounter and at so much audacity, remained also without motion. His eyes were inflamed like two burning coals. The man immediately understood that at least movement he was lost. The bull, who was by instinct conscious of his strength and his courage, waited to be provoked to fight. Lowering and raising his head 3 or 4 times impatiently, he began to paw at the earth and to fill the air with dust in token of his defiance. Stein preserved his immobility. The animal then stepped 1 pace backward, lowered his head, and prepared the attack, when he felt himself bitten in the ham. At the same time, the furious barking of his brave companion informed Stein who was his rescuer. The bull, full of rage, turned to repel this unlooked-for attack. Stein profited by this movement and took to flight. The horrible situation from which he had so great difficulty escaped gave him new strength to fly past the green oaks and through the briars, the thickness of which sheltered him from his formidable adversary. He had already passed a little dale and climbed a hillock, and then stopped nearly out of breath. He turned round to observe the place of his perilous adventure. He saw through the clearing his poor companion, which the ferocious animal tossed in the air as if diverting himself. Stein extended his arms toward his dog, so courageous, so devoted, and sobbing, he exclaimed, Poor Fidel, my only friend, you well merit your name. You pay dear for the affection you have shown for your masters. Then, to distract his thoughts from this frightful spectacle, Stein hurried on, shedding profuse tears. He thus arrived at the summit of another hill, where was spread open to his view a magnificent landscape. The ground sloped almost insensibly to the borders of the sea, which calmly and tranquilly reflected the last rays of the sun, and presented the appearance of a vast field spangled with rubies and sapphires. The white sail of a vessel, which appeared as if held stationary by the waves, seemed detached like a pearl in the midst of these splendid riches. The line formed by the coast was marvelously uneven. The shore seemed covered with golden sands, where the sea rolled its long silver fringes. Bordering the coast rose rocks whose gigantic boulders seemed to pierce the azure sky. In the distance, at the left, Stein discovered the ruins of a fort, human labor, but which could resist nothing, and whose base was the rock, divine work which resisted everything. At the right, he perceived a cluster of houses, without being able to perceive whether it was a village, a palace, or a convent. Nearly exhausted by his last hurried walk and by his saddened emotions, it was toward this point he would direct his steps. He could not reach it until night had set in. What he saw was, in fact, one of those convents constructed in the time of Christian faith and enthusiasm. The monastery had been in the olden time brilliant, sumptuous, and hospitable, but now it was abandoned, poor, empty, dismantled, offered for sale, as was indicated by some strips of paper pasted on its ruined walls. Nobody, however, desired to purchase it, however low was the price asked. Full Metal Alchemist.
The poor dog, man.
I know, right? Like, I get why he's leaving the pupper behind and don't want to waste the dog's sacrifice, but wow. Oh. Puppy.
He must be traveling in like a really remote place too, right? Like there's no one around on his journey right here, right?
Yeah, he didn't even think about
Because to like
desert,
encounter
that it
this
was
bull,
desert.
like what? It's crazy.
That threw me. The face to face with a bull. I guess. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Okay, man. Where the heck you
No
going?
bull.
All right.
That's the thing, right? We don't really know what he's doing,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, he is
he's
saying
trying to
that he's
establish
kind of-
his doctor practice, right? So
Yeah, he's kind of wandering around trying to figure out where he's going to land now that he's
Yeah.
been kicked out of the army for, bothering to save somebody from the opposing side, as doctors tend to do, but with,
gotta die honorably. That kind of machismo, you know?
It's not even that. It's just like, seriously, you're gonna kick me out because I showed basic civility to somebody? That's wow, guys, thanks. Real big of you.
Can't do it.
Also, like, doctors are supposed to be neutral. Like, annoying.
I didn't pick up on that. So was he trying to save the life of an enemy?
So an enemy fell almost dead into his arms and he stitched the enemy up. And that's why he got thrown out, was because he was being too sympathetic to the people dying around him, basically.
The sick person who fell into your lap.
But he's traveling to the war or something. We read
He had
something
traveled
about
to the
I
war.
see.
He'd served in the army. This has been a
past.
time skip of several years.
I get it. I got it.
Yep. No, you got this. You're a clever cookie.
Okay.
And that I actually used the wrong accent for him. I should have been using the German accent, but I realized that like 3 lines in and was like, oh shit. And of course 3 lines is like a page and a half because of how this is written. So
Cross that border,
I
change
love that
his
you
accent.
committed. Yeah.
well,
To be
What you gonna
fair, I
do?
mean, like, whenever I'm around
To be
people who have
fair.
accented speech, like, I find myself, like, getting into that a little bit, just like in the patterns of their speech. It just happens. You know? Do you find that
yeah.
phenomena?
Yeah, when I
I-
visit my family, my accent is prominent.
my accent and even the voice that I'm using depend very heavily on who I'm talking to
Yeah.
and how I'm feeling in the moment.
Right.
And like people will ask me, wait, is that your natural voice? It's all my natural
Yeah,
voice.
no,
I
I
don't
feel
have
it's
a
so
natural
similar.
voice. Damn it.
Period. It's so true. Like, I think the way that I talk at work versus the way that I talk with my friends is very different.
Absolutely.
And my accent changes
Yeah. Yeah.
based on who I'm with. Yeah.
Each is funny like that.
Yeah. Well,
Just
and
goes to
I
show
have
how
the-
expressive we are.
You're not wrong. And then I have the added complexity that every once in a while, my colleagues like to tease me because if I get really, really distracted or frustrated, well, my accent kind of switches up just a little bit there. And boy, suddenly they're telling me I should go back and eat more poutine.
Oh my gosh.
So funny.
Yeah, thanks, buds. Boy,
it
good
when
of you to...
Upset, Celine. I've heard some friends of mine who are from like different places, like the South, that when they're upset, you can hear their words change, and their accent goes
The
up a little
drawl comes
bit.
out.
Yes, the draw comes out.
Getting angry. The draw's coming out.
Literally.
You're not gonna like me when I'm angry.
Exactly.
Don't be talking to me
precisely.
like that around these parts. See here.
Oh my god, you guys were waiting. You guys were waiting to do it. You guys had that locked and loaded.
I have many things locked and loaded. I should probably look
Honestly.
at like unlocking a few things, maybe unloading every once in a while, you know.
Okay. Where am I starting from? The wide folding doors?
Top of the page. Or no, not the top of the page. Blah, blah,
think-
blah.
Yeah, because we just
Was
talked about the
it-
price. Yeah.
Right, yes, however
Okay.
low the price was asked Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. The wide folding doors, which formerly offered an easy access to all comers, were now closed as if they would never be opened again. Stein's strength abandoned him, and he fell almost without consciousness upon a stone bench. The delirium of fever attacked his brain, and he was only aroused by the crowing of a cock. I don't know why I said it like that, but it was very,
Yeah, why not?
you know. Listen, when cock is involved, it gets really sensitive.
Oh my gosh.
Rising
And here
suddenly.
you were worried about cussing.
I know, I'm so glad. I would make a joke like that, but you can't just like go into people's streams and be making jokes like that. It's like, wait.
Wait, you can't?
You
Can't?
can't. What do you mean?
We're
No,
chill.
I'm such. You just never know, you know. It's just have to make sure.
All right. Well,
You
when I
never
said we was
know.
chill, I meant it.
Okay, I hear you.
Rising suddenly, Stein, with pain, walked to the door, took up a stone and knocked. A loud barking replied to his summons. He made another effort, knocked again, but his strength was exhausted. He sank on the ground. The door was opened, and two persons appeared. One of them was a young woman, holding a light in her hand, which she directed towards the object lying at her feet. "Jesus!" she cried. "It is not Manuel, a stranger. God aid us!" "Help him!" replied the other, a good and simple old woman. "Brother Gabriel! Brother Gabriel!" He called out, and entering the court, "Come quickly! There is here an unfortunate man who is dying!" Hurried steps were heard. They were those of an old man of ordinary height, with a placid and high-complexioned face. His dress consisted of pantaloons and a large vest with grey sleeves, and the remnant of an old frock coat. He had sandals on his feet. A cap of black wool covered his shiny forehead. "Brother Gabriel," said to the elder female, "you must succor this man." "He must be cared for," replied Brother Gabriel. Is it Gabriel or Gabriel in this case?
Let's see, how's
No.
it spelled?
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Gabriel?
Oh, Gabriel. Gabriel would be two L's and an E
I
on
see,
the
I
end,
see. Okay.
wouldn't it?
I think so. Yes. I will go with it. Stick with one. "For God's sake," cried the woman who carried the light. "Where can we place here a dying man?" "We will do the best we can, my daughter, without being uneasy about the rest. Help me." "Would to God," said Dolores, "that we have no disagreement when Manuel returns." "It cannot be otherwise," replied the good old woman. "That the son will concur in what his mother has done." Three conveyed Stein to the chamber of Brother Gabriel. They made up for him a bed with fresh straw and a good large mattress filled with wool. Grandma Maria took out a large chest, a pair of sheets, if not very fine, at least very white. Then she added a warm woolen counterpane. Brother Gabriel, I want to say Gabriel so bad.
Just say
I don't know
it.
why.
Yeah, just say it.
But
Just say
I don't
it.
know. I think it's Gabriel, you guys.
It's
None
fine.
of us are
Just
gonna
say
judge you. You're
Gabriel.
among friends. Just
Literally.
say it. Say it.
Say Gabriel.
Okay.
Say it with your chest out. Gabriel.
Well, I just puffed it up. Brother Gabriel wished to give up his pillow. The grandma opposed it, saying she had two, and that one would suffice for her. During these preparations, someone knocked loud at the door, and continued to knock. "Here's Manuel," said the young woman. "Come with me, mother. I do not wish to be alone with him when he learns that we have admitted a stranger." The mother-in-law followed the steps of her daughter. "God be praised. Good evening, mother." "Good evening, wife," said on entering a strong and powerfully constructed man. Oh ho ho. He seemed to be 38 to 40 years old, and was followed by a child of about 13 years. "Come, Momo," unlaid the ass, and led him to the stable. Unlaid? I see. Unlaid is a... Okay. "Come, Momo," unlaid the ass and lead him to the stable. The poor beast is tired. Momo carried to the kitchen, where the family was accustomed to assemble a supply of large loaves of white bread, some very plump woodcock, and his father's cloak. Dolores went and closed the door, and then rejoined her husband and her mother in the kitchen. "Have you brought my ham and my starch?" she asked. "They are here." Oh, here they are. They are here. "And my flax?" "I had almost a desire to forget it," answered Manuel, smiling and handing some skeins to his mother. "But why, son?" "Because I recollected that villager who went to the fair, and whom all the neighbors loaded with commissions. 'Bring me a hat,' said one. 'Bring me a pair of gaiters,' said another. A cousin asked for a comb, an aunt wished for some chocolate, and for all these commissions gave no one gave him a cuarto. He had already bestrode his mule when a pretty little child came to him and said, 'Here are 2 cuartos for a flag.' Okay, what is this word? Flageolet? Flageolet?
Flageolet?
I think of flageolet.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with flageolet.
Do it.
'Here are the 2 cuartos for a flageolet. Will you bring me one?' The child presented his money. The villager stooped, took it, and replied, 'Shall be flageoleted.' And in fact, when he returned from the fair... I just want to know what it means.
It's
Of
a
all-
wooden
Right, like-
instrument similar to a recorder or a flute.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
is it flageolet?
That's the one thing that I'm not seeing in Wikipedia is a pronunciation guide.
Well, flageolet.
Flageolet?
Let it flageolet. Of all the commissions
Let
they
it-
had given him, he brought only the flageolet.
A flageolet. It's
Oh.
derived from Old French.
Okay. Thank you, France. I don't know, I'm American. Be it so.
Flageolet.
Well, that's you've said
Yeah, I
before. You
learned.
can pronounce the name as Cy Teal.
That's
as long
true, you
as
just gotta
you're
give me a
using
yeehaw.
Southern accent.
Be it so.
Oh,
It is
yeah,
well.
Of course, there's a yeehaw.
Yeah, of course there's a yeehaw. Said the mother. The mother said there's a yeehaw. Why do I pass every day in sewing? It is not for thee and thy children. You wish that I imitate the tailor who worked for nothing and furnished the thread below the cost? At this moment, Momo reappeared on the threshold of the kitchen. He was small and fat, high and shouldered. He had, besides, the bad habit to raise them without any cause, and with an air of scorn and carelessness, almost to touch his large ears which hung out like fans. His head was enormous, his hair short, lips thick. Again, he squinted horribly. "Father," said he, with a malicious air, "there is a man asleep in the chamber of Brother Gabriel." "A man in my house?" cried Manuel. throwing away his chair. Okay, yeah, this this is the reaction of a machismo man. I would expect. Dolores, what does this mean? Manuel, it is a poor invalid. Her mother would that we receive him. It was not my opinion. She insisted. What could I do? It is well, but however, she may be my mother. Ought she, for that to lodge here the first man that comes along? He should be left to die at the door like a dog? Is that not so? But my mother, replied Manuel. My house a hospital? No. It is the house of a Christian. And if you had been here, you would have done as I did. Oh, certainly not, continued Manuel. Wow. Oh, yeah. Manly man. I would have put him on our ass and conducted him to the village. Now there are no more convents. We had not our ass here, and there was no one to take charge of this unfortunate man. And if he is a robber, dying men do not rob. If his illness is long... If his illness is long, who will take care of him? Celine, you have something to say?
I'm just dying. What if he robs us? He's half dead.
Yeah,
It
come
takes him
on,
too long
man.
to recover. Like, what do you expect?
Oh, they've just killed a fowl to make broth, said Momo. I saw the feathers in court. You lost your mind, mother, cried Manuel furiously. Enough, enough, said his mother in a severe tone. You ought to blush for shame to dare to quarrel with me because I have obeyed the law of God. If your father were still living, he would not believe that his son could refuse to open his door to the unfortunate ill and without succor and dying. Manuel bowed his head. There was a moment of silence. It is well, my mother said. Forget that I have said anything, and act according to your own judgment. We know that women are always right. Dolores breathed more freely. How good he is, she said joyously to her mother-in-law. Yeah, how good. Okay, man. Did you doubt it? She
He's
replied.
Mijo.
How good he is after, like, arguing with his mother about a half-dead man invading his home. Like, come on, man.
Literally. Okay.
Would you doubt it? She replied, smiling to her daughter, whom she tenderly loved. And in rising to go and take her place at the couch of the invalid, she added, I have never doubted it. I brought him into the world. At least he knows how to succumb to his mom, graciously. After arguing, but graciously. And in passing near to Momo, she said to him, I already knew that you had a bad heart. But you have never proved it as you have today. I complain of you. You are wicked, and the wicked carry their own chastisement. Old people are only good for sermonizing, growled Momo, and casting a side look at his grandmother. But he had scarcely pronounced this last word when his mother, who had heard him, approached and applied a smart blow. That will teach you, she said, to be insolent to the mother of your father. Towards a woman who is twice your mother. Momo began to cry and took refuge at the bottom of the court and vented his anger and... Oh my goodness, what is this word? Vented his anger in bastinadoing? Bastinadoing?
Bastina doing?
Bastina doing?
Bastina
What's the
doing?
Bastina doing? I don't know what this word is. Bastina doing? Celine, help!
Celine, you're muted!
I'm also not any help here.
Oh my god.
No. Let me see. Bastinato.
Bastinadoing. Bastinadoing.
Oh, it's foot whipping.
Okay.
So basically smacking the dog on the feet.
Okay. Bastinadoing.
Bastinadoing.
I was like confused. I was like, doing? What?
Oh, I hate English. Bastinadoing.
Okay. Momo began to cry and took refuge at the bottom of the court and vented his anger as bastinadoing the poor dog who had not offended him. Yay, pronunciation school.
What? What is this?
You guys can't hear it, but the doctor in the chat redeemed. What is this from Resident Evil? I can't play it for you. I wish there was a way for me to play the wonderful sounds people can play on stream.
It's okay. We understand, Satil.
Alas.
We'll be important enough to hear it someday.
Someday.
I don't know. Maybe we have to do this on Parsec instead somehow. Oh, well.
I mean, what's Parsec?
It's a remote desktop sharing. It's an app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to have your stream turned down. Like, I have you up, but I have to have it turned down, because if not, I'll go crazy.
No.
With your
No,
voice.
yeah.
The
Please
echo
mute
is,
it. For all intents and purposes, mute it for our purposes. Okay. How we feeling? Do we want to do another chapter and then call it? After that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Let's do it. I'll pass it off. Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay. Chapter 3. The grandma and the brother Gabriel took the best care of the invalid, but they could not agree upon the method which should be adopted to cure him. Maria, without having read Brown, recommended substantial soups, yay me, comforts and tonics. Kiki, it's me.
You are a substantial soup. This is true.
Yay! Recommended substantial soups, comforts, and tonics because she conceived that Stein was debilitated and worn out. Brother Gabriel, without ever having heard the name of Celine, Bruce, pronounced, pleaded for refreshments and emollients because emollients.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Because in his opinion, Stein had a brain fever, the blood heated and the skin hot. Both were right, and with this double system, which blended the soups of the grandma with the lemonade of Brother Gabriel, it happened that Stein recovered his life and his health the same day that the good woman killed the last fowl, and the brother divested the lemon trees of their last fruit. Brother Gabriel, said the grandma, to which state corpse do you think our invalid belongs? Is he military? He must be military, replied Gabriel, who except in
Corps, by the way. This is military corps.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oop. Okay, thank you.
That's okay. You got this.
He must be military, replied Brother Gabriel, who, except in medical or horticultural discussions, had the habit of regarding the good woman as an oracle, and to be guided wholly by her opinion. If he were military, continued the old woman, shaking her head, he would be armed, and he is not armed. I found only a flute in his pocket. Then he is not military. He cannot be military, replied Brother Gabriel. If he were a contrabandist, it is possible he is a contrabandist, said the good brother. Oh my God, enough with good Brother Gabriel. Just say Gabriel.
He's a good brother. He's a good brother.
Every time it's like Brother Gabriel. But no, replied the old woman, for to be a contrabandist, he should wear stuffs or jewelry, and he has nothing of these. That is not true. He cannot be a contrabandist, affirmed Brother Gabriel.
You just said he was.
I know. See, what are the titles of his books? Perhaps by that means we can discover what he is. The brother rose, took his horn spectacles, placed them on his nose and the package of books in his hands, and approached the window which looked out on the grand court.
I feel like I've heard arguments like this, though. Like, people bickering back and forth about a subject to no end and not getting anywhere with it.
And just, it cannot be, it must.
Yeah.
Well, clearly I cannot trust the drink in front of me.
Literally. Literally. Wait, that's Princess Bride, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like, wait, that is. His inspection of the books lasted a long time. Brother Gabriel, asked the old woman, have you forgotten to know how to read? No, but I do not know these characters. I believe it is Hebrew. Hebrew? Holy Virgin of Heaven, can he be a Jew? At that moment, Stein, awaking from a long lethargy, addressed him and said in German, Mein Gott? Mein Gott?
Mein Gott.
Mein Gott?
Wo bin ich?
Okay.
Mein Gott, wo bin ich?
Oh my god. Okay. Mein Gott. Wo bin ich? My god, where am I? The old woman sprang with one bound to the middle of the chamber. Brother Gabriel let fall the books and remained petrified after opening his eyes as large as his spectacles. "And what language have you spoken?" she demanded. "It must be Hebrew, like these books," answered Brother Gabriel. "Perhaps he is a Jew, as you said, good Maria." "God help us," she cried. "But no, if he were a Jew, would we not have seen it on his back when we undressed him?" "Good Maria," replied the brother. Bro, for real. The Holy Father said that this belief which attributes to a Jew a tail at his back is nonsense, a piece of bad wit, and that the Jews laugh at it. "Brother Gabriel," replied the good Mama Maria, "since this holy constitution, all is changed, all is metamorphosized. This clique who govern a day in place of the king wished that nothing should remain of what formerly existed. It is for that they no longer permit the Jews to wear tails on their backs, although they always before carried them, as does the devil."
What the fuck?
Absolutely insane.
Jeez, man.
I say this as someone who was raised Catholic, like, leave it to the Catholics, bro.
Yeah. To pass all prejudice, absolutely.
Literally. Like, this is Catholic nonsense. This is religious nonsense, and this is Catholic nonsense. Okay. To wear tails on their backs, although they always before carried them, as does the devil. If the Holy Father said to the contrary, it is because it is obligatory, as they are obliged to stay at Mass. Constitutional king. "That may be so," said the monk. "He is not a Jew," pursued the old woman. "Rather is he a Turk or a Moor who has been shipwrecked on our coast." "A pirate of Morocco," replied the good brother. "It may be. But then he would wear a turban and yellow slippers."
They're just talking in front of him.
Oh my gosh. This is just like, show me how ignorant you are. This is crazy.
Full racism on parade.
I'm ready for him to interrupt and be like, "Excuse me, hello."
Bro. But this is also like, I wonder too, and this is like one of those things, is the author aware of herself? Because this was very much the belief, y'all.
Yeah.
They were this racist. Oh my gosh. It's just ridiculous. Okay, sorry. I hate even reading this. I'm like, he would wear a turban and yellow slippers. Like the Moor I had seen 30 years ago when I was in Cadiz. They called him the Moor Ceylon. Ceylon? How handsome he was. But for me, his beauty was nothing. He was not a Christian. Damn. A read. After all, be he Jew or Moor,
savage.
let us relieve him. This is crazy. It's like, no, how hot you are, but you're not Christian, therefore you're an uggo. Like, what? What do you mean? Assist him, Jew or Christian, repeated the brother. And then they approached the bed. Stein had raised himself up in a sitting position and regarded with astonishment all the objects by which he was surrounded. "He does not understand what we say to him," said the good Maria. "Let us try, nevertheless. Let us try," added Gabriel. "In Spain, the common people believe that the best way to make themselves understood is to speak very loud. Maria and Gabriel..." Yeah.
I have family who are like that.
Yep.
Insane! With this conviction, cried out together, "Will you have some soup?" said Maria. "Will you have some lemonade?" said the brother. Stein, whose ideas became clear little by little, asked in Spanish, "Where am I? Who am I?" "He," replied the old woman, "is Brother Gabriel. I am Grandma Maria, and we are both at your orders." "Ah," said Stein, "from who do you take your names? The Holy Archangel and the Holy Virgin, guardians of the sick and consolers of the afflicted, will recompense you for your good actions." "He speaks Spanish!" cried Maria with emotion. Oh my god. This is so crazy.
Oh
Literally.
my goodness. Celine just went to
can't.
space.
Yeah, Celine is deceased right now.
Oh, for
Celine will be back
goodness
later.
sake. Rumors of my death are greatly exaggerated, thank you. But I am
love it.
enjoying this.
Oh my, Maria's crazy. And I
Mhm.
hate calling women crazy. Maria's giving crazy. He speaks Spanish, cried Maria with emotion, and he is a Christian, and he knows the litanies. In her excessive joy, she approached Stein, pressed him in her arms, and bravely kissed his forehead.
Salt took.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Salt took.
Full Metal Alchemist. Alright, let's see here. Decidedly, who are you? She said after having made him take a bowl of soup. How, ill and dying, have you reached this depopulated village? I am called Stein. I am a surgeon. I was in the war at Navarre. I came to Estremadura to seek a port whence I could embark for Cadiz and then regain Germany, my country. I lost myself en route. I made 1,000 detours and finished by arriving here, worn out by fatigue and ready to give up the ghost. You see, said Maria to Brother Gabriel, that his books are not in the Hebrew language, but in the language of surgeons. That is true, repeated Brother Gabriel. And which party do you belong to? Asked the old woman. Don Carlos or the other? I serve in the troops of the Queen, replied Stein. Maria turned toward her companion and with an expressive gesture said in a low voice, He is not with the good. He was not with the good, repeated Brother Gabriel in bowing his head. But where am I? Demanded Stein again. You are in a convent, which is no longer a convent. It is a body without a soul. There remain but the walls, the white cross, and the Brother Gabriel. The others have taken away all the rest. When there was nothing more to take, some gentlemen, whom they call the public credit, searched for a good man to guard the convent, that is to say, its carcass. They heard my son spoken of, and we came and established ourselves here, where I live with my son, the only one who would remain. When we entered into the convent, the fathers went away. Some retired to America or rejoined the missions in China. Some returned to their families. Some demanded their subsistence or work, or had recourse to alms. We have with us a monk, bone down by age and grief, who, seated on the steps of the White Cross, weeps sometimes for the absent brethren, sometimes for the convent which they have abandoned. Will not your reverence come here? A child but lately attached to the services of the chapel said to him, Where would you go? Where would you that I go? He replied, I will never go away from these walls where I was poor and an orphan, received by the good fathers. I know nobody in the world, and I know nothing but how to take care of the garden of the convent. Where shall I go? What shall I do? I can live only here. Then remain with us. Well said, mother, replied my son. We are 7 seated at the same table. We will be 8, and as the proverb said, we will eat more and we will eat less. Thanks to this act of charity, said Gabriel. Oh, sure, now they drop the good brother bit. I remain here. I take charge of the garden. But since they have sold the large pump, I do not know how to water a foot of ground. The orange and the lemon trees dry up under my feet. Brother Gabriel, continued the grandmother, will not quit these walls to which he is attached like the ivy. He also says, Very well, there remain but the walls. The barbarians, they have proved this maxim. Destroy the nest, the birds will never come back again. Notwithstanding, I have heard said there are too many converts in Spain. Maria fixed her back. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to try that line again. Notwithstanding, hazarded Stein, I have heard there are too many convents in Spain. Maria fixed her black, sparkling eyes on the German and said to herself in an undertone, Were our first suspicions well founded?
They're so back and forth on, do they like this guy? Is he cool? Or is he just like an infidel? It's just crazy how much
Is he
floppery
gay?
is going on.
Or European?
Yes! Gay European.
That was a short chapter. I'm wagering we go a little more.
All right, I'm down to party. I'm down to party.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Gotta keep up with Soup. You know, she's marching off on this campaign. So let's do it. Chapter 4. The end of October had been rainy, and November sheltered herself under her thick green mantle. Stein took a walk one day in front of the convent. A magnificent panorama presented itself to his sight. At the right, the limitless sea. At the left, solitude without end. Between them, on the horizon, was painted the black profile of the Fort San Cristobal. The sea undulated softly, in raising without effort the waves gilded by the sun's rays like a queen who spreads out her gorgeous mantle. Not far from thence was situated a village of Villamar, near a river as impetuous during winter as calm and muddy during summer. The grounds around, well cultivated, presented the aspect of a chessboard, where each square revealed the 1,000 shades of green. Here shone the warm tints of the vine, then covered with leaves, there the ash-colored green of the olive tree, the emerald green of the fig tree, which rains of autumn had imparted growth to, further off still, the bluish-green hedges of aloes. At the mouth of the river were collected several fishermen's boats. Near the convent, upon a light hillock, stood a chapel. In front, a cross based on the block of masonry whitened with lime. Behind this cross, a retreat of verdure. It was the cemetery. Stein went there to meditate upon the powerful magic of the works of nature when he saw Momo leaving the farm and going toward the village. In perceiving Stein, Momo proposed to him to accompany him, and they both commenced their route. They arrived soon at the top of the hillock near the cross and the chapel. This ascension, however short and easy, had taken away Stein's strength, who was yet scarcely convalescent. He rested an instant, then he entered the chapel, whose walls were covered with exovatos. Among these exovatos, there was one which singularly attracted by its strangeness. The front of the altar contracted itself toward the base in describing a curved line. Stein perceived there, in the obscurity, an object supported against the wall, and the form of which he could not distinguish. Fixing his earnest scrutiny on this object, he became assured it was a carbine. The size was such, and the weight must have been so great, that it was incomprehensible how one single man could have the strength to place it in that position. It is but the reflection which is always inspired by the sight of the armor of the Middle Ages. The mouth of the carbine was so large that an orange could easily be introduced. The arm was broken, and the pieces were artistically put together by means of little cords. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist! Momo, said Stein. What does this signify? Is it really a carbine? In looking at it, replied Momo, it appears to be one. Oh, it seems to me to be one. But why do they place a murderous weapon in this holy and peaceful place? In truth, it is not sense to arm Christ with a pair of pistols. But see then, replied Momo, the carbine is not placed in the hands of our Lord. It is at his feet as an offering. Why does he sound like a scientist from Half-Life? I don't know why, but he just does. The day on which
hey, why not?
The day on which this carbine was brought here, they called this Christ, the Christ of good help. And from what motive? Demanded Stein. For what motive? Said Momo, in opening his eyes. Everybody knows that, and you know not. Have you forgotten that I am a stranger? Replied Stein. Weird period right there. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you then. There was formerly in this country a highway robber, who did not content himself with robbing. He murdered the people as if they were insects, whether from hatred, whether from fear of being denounced, or whether from caprice. Is that right? Caprice?
Caprice, yeah.
Caprice.
Caprice. I don't know the meaning of the word.
It's the same root as capricious. It's just something done more or less for the sake of it, or because I felt like it in the moment.
Got it. One day, two men of this village, two brothers, would undertake a journey. All their friends assembled to conduct them part of the way. There were abundance of good wishes that they might not encounter the bandit who gave quarter to no one and who terrified everybody. But they, good children, commended themselves to Christ and departed full of confidence in his protection. At the entrance of a wood of olives, they found themselves face to face with the robber, who came before them with carbine in hand, rested his gun, and aimed. In this extreme peril, the two brothers fell on their knees, addressing themselves to Christ. "Help us, Lord!" The bandit pulled the trigger, but whose soul was launched into another world? It was that of the robber. God caused the carbine to burst in the hands of the bandit. And you see now that, in memory of this miraculous assistance, we repaired the carbine with cords and deposited it here. And it is Christ who since then we implore help from. You knew nothing about it, Don Federico? Nothing, Momo, he replied, in adding him to his, as if to his own reflections. As if his own reflections. Nothing, Momo, he replied, in adding as if his own reflections. If you know all that others are ignorant of, they who pretend know everything. Let us go. Will you come? Said Momo after a moment's silence. You know I cannot wait. I am fatigued, replied Stein. Go along. I will wait for you here. God protect you. And Momo resumed his route, singing. God's sweet protection be your lot, is the usual affiance? Affiance?
I think it was
Affiance.
affiance. Oh, affiance.
Affiance? But it rhymes with science? I don't know. I don't know how to sing this song.
Affiance.
I guess it could be.
I don't know the word well enough to be sure. So.
Me either. I don't know a lot of these words, and that's the half the fun. God's sweet protection be your lot, is the usual affiance. Poor be ye rich, for science. The rich cannot buy it. Stein contemplated this little village, so tranquil, at once fishing, commercial, and laborious. It was not like the villages of Germany, an assemblage of houses scattered without order, with their roofs of straw and their gardens. It resembled in no way those of England, sheltered by the shades of their large trees, nor those of Flanders, which retired to the borders of the roads. It was composed of large streets, although badly made, where the houses, without separate stories, were of various heights and covered with old tiles. Windows were rare, and still more rare, glass, and every species of ornament. But the village contained a grand square, which in spring was green as a prairie. On this square was situated a beautiful church. The general aspect was one of charming neatness. 14 crosses of dimensions, equal to that which was near to Stein, were placed equidistant from each other. The last, which was raised in the middle of the square, opposite to the church. It was the road, the cross. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
It does indeed
Momo
rhyme with
came
science.
back.
Thank you for that in the chat, Celine.
Momo came back, but with a companion who was old, tall, dry, thin, and stiff as a wax taper. This book is so shady. It describes people's crazy.
Yeah.
This man was
the
dressed in
romantic
a
era.
coat.
Everything is big and, like, you know, crazy.
Dry.
Yeah.
Stiff. This man was dressed in a coat and pantaloons made of coarse gray cloth, a waistcoat enameled in faded colors, and embellished with some repairs. Real chef d'oeuvres. Oeuvres?
Chef d'oeuvres.
Chef d'oeuvres? Like hors d'oeuvres!
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Chef d'oeuvres.
Yeah, but I would say everything is described with great exaggeration in the characters' appearances. That's what I should say. Yes.
Yeah. of their kind, a red belt such as is worn by the peasants, a slouched hat with large rim ornamented with a cockage which had been red, and which time the rain and the sun had colored with the brilliant shades of a watermelon. On each shoulder was a narrow strip of lace, probably destined to secure two much-used epaulets?
Where
Celine, you
are
are
we?
muted.
Where are we?
Used epaulets.
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 Epaulets. Okay.
So in
And then
English,
an
they're called
old-
epaulets.
Got it.
They're the if you ever see military uniforms, they're pads with the cords coming down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Epaulets.
Epaulets.
Epaulette.
Okay, thank you. And then an old sword suspended from a belt of the same age completed this ensemble. Ensemble is italicized? I can't. Half military.
Ensemble.
Yeah, like what? Ensemble. Like, what do you mean? Oh my god. Half military and half rule. Long years had exercised great ravages upon the front part of the long and narrow skull of this being. To supply the natural ornament, he had coaxed towards the forehead the sad remnant of his head of hair, and fixing them there by a means of a cord of black silk on the top of his skull, he formed a tuft as gracious as that of a Chinese coxcomb. "Momo, who is this man?" asked Stein in a low voice. "The commandant," the other replied very simply. "The commandant of what?" anew asked Stein. "Of the Fort de San Cristobal."
I believe it's a commandant. I
Oh,
believe.
commandant!
Yes.
Why is this so
Commandant.
French? Okay, the commandant of what? Anew asked Stein. "Of the Fort de San Cristobal." "The Fort de San Cristobal," cried Stein in ecstasy. "Your servant," said the newly arrived, saluting him with courtesy. "My name is Modesto Guerrero, and I place at your entire command my useless services." The compliment of usage.
Ow.
Useless services got you.
It did.
Had an application so exact to him who made it that Stein could not resist a smile in returning his military salute. "I know who you are," pursued Don Modesto. "I have taken a prominent part in your contretemps.
Contretemps? I'm not familiar with this French terminology.
Okay.
Contretemps. I don't
We'll
know.
go with
Consult form. Yeah, that's the closest I can
Yeah.
get without Googling.
Okay. And your misfortunes, I congratulate you on your reestablishment and on your re-encounter with the Alesars, who are, by my faith, very good kind of people. My person and my house are entirely at your orders. I reside at the Plaza de Iglesia, then that is to say, place of the Constitution, for that is the name at present. If sometime you would favor it with a visit, the inscription will indicate to you the place." "As if he possessed all the village," said Momo with a sneer. "Then there is an inscription," again demanded Stein, who, in the busy life of a camp, had never had time to learn the language of studied compliments, and could not therefore reply to those of the courteous Spaniard. That's funny. Calling them bougie. "Yes, sir," replied Don Modesto. "The subordinate should obey the orders of his superiors. You should comprehend that in this little village it is not easy to procure a slab of marble with letters of gold like those who can purchase a Cadiz or Seville. We must have recourse to the schoolmaster, who writes a good hand, and who, to paint the inscription on the walls of common houses, is obliged to place himself at a certain height. The schoolmaster prepared a black color with soot and vinegar mix, mounted the ladder, and commenced the work by tracing the letters about a foot long. Unfortunately, in wishing to make an elegant flourish, he gave such a violent shake to the ladder that it fell to the earth, carrying with it in its fall the schoolmaster with his pot of black, and all rolled together into the stream. Rosita, my hostess, who came from the window, had been a witness of this catastrophe, and having seen the misfortunate man come out black as coal, was frightened to that degree that which she went into spasms, and continued thus for 3 days, and in truth, I was not myself without some easiness. I'm sorry. She went into spasms after seeing him come out just in black soot?
Guess so.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was what this was. The alcalde, notwithstanding, gave orders to the poor Bruce schoolmaster to complete his work and saw that the inscription gave only the letters consti. The unfortunate man was ill at ease, but this time he could not use the ladder. He would bring a cart and place a table on it, and secure it with strong cords. Hoisted upon this improvised scaffolding, the poor devil was so astounded that, reflecting on his accident, he had but one thought, which was to complete his work as speedily as possible. This is the reason why the last letters, in lieu of being a foot long like the first, are not longer than your thumb. And that is not the worst of it. In his eagerness, he forgot one letter at the bottom of his pot of black, and the inscription thus appears: Plaza de Constitution. That's hilarious.
Plaza de la Constitution.
The alcalde was thrown into a pious fury, and the schoolmaster stoutly declared that neither for God nor for all the saints would he recommence it, and that he preferred to mount a bull of 8 years old rather than to work upon that mountebank plank. Thus, had the inscription remained as it was, happily no one reads it. He is sorry that the schoolmaster had not completed it, and for it would have been very handsome and done great honor to Villamar. Momo, who carried on his shoulders some saddlebags well fitted, and who was in a hurry, asked the commandant? Yes, okay, commandant, if he was going to Fort San Cristobal. I go there, and on my way I will first go to see the daughter of Pedro Santalo. She is ill. Who, the Gaviota? Asked Momo. Don't believe it. I saw her yesterday on top of a rock, screaming like the seagull. Gaviota, said Stein with a surprise. Full Metal Alchemist.
Finally got the Gaviota in the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's the title of this book.
Oh my god, title of ep.
It is,
said the commandant.
a wicked name which Momo has given this young girl.
Because she has long legs,
Replied Momo.
because she lives equally on the sea and on the earth, because she sings, cries, and leaps from rock to rock like the seagulls.
Your grandmother,
Replied Don Modesto.
loves her very much and never calls her anything but Marisalada, witty Maria, on account of her piquant frolics, the grace of her songs and her dance, and her beautiful imitation of the singing birds.
It is not that,
Replied Momo.
it is because that her father is a fisherman and brings us salt and fish.
And does she live near the port? Asked Stein, whose curiosity was much excited by all these details.
Very near,
Replied the commandant.
Pedro Santaloa possessed a bark. Having made sail for Cadiz, he encountered a tempest and was shipwrecked on our coast. All perished, crew and cargo, with the exception of Pedro and his daughter, whom he had with him. The desire to save her doubled his strength. He gained the shore, but his ruin was complete. His sadness and discouragement were so profound that he would not return to his country. With the debris of his bark, he constructed a little skiff among the rocks, and commenced as a fisherman. It was he who furnished the convent with fish. The brothers, in exchange, gave him bread, oil, and vinegar. It is now 12 years that he has lived here in peace with all the world.
This recital finished when they had arrived at a point where the paths divide into 2 roads.
I will return soon,
Said the old commandant.
In an instant, I will be at your disposal and salute your hosts.
State to Gaviota that her illness does not alarm me. Bad weeds never die.
Has the commandant been long at Villamar? Asked Stein of Momo.
Let me count.
Let me count. 101 years before the birth of my father.
And who is this Rosita, his hostess?
Who? Senorita Rosa Mystica?
Replied Momo with grotesque gesture.
It is a first love. She is uglier than hunger. She has one eye which looks to the east and the other to the west, and her face, which the smallpox has not spared, is filled with cavities, each sufficient to hold an echo. But Don Federico, the heavens scorch, the clouds rush as if they would pursue us. Let us hasten our steps.
Chapter 5.
All right. Let's see here. So, I had allocated an hour and a half for this. We are at about, what is it, 2
By
at
my
this point?
by my clock, it says 2 hours and about 20 minutes. So I think
But we
we're
were
good.
in just loading for a while, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
call it 2 hours. Do we want to try and roll into chapter 5? Do we want to reconvene next time with Baljeet in tow? Do we just generally want to enjoy each other's company? How do we want to play this?
Well, I have not had dinner. I'm gonna go and do that, and we'll conclude for the night here.
Alrighty.
So
Well, thank you everyone
thanks
so
for-
much for joining us. It's always lovely to see everybody.
Absolutely.
Same.
Pleasure to meet you.
What's
Yeah, I was
our
about to say.
evaluation of what we read so far? I think I'm intrigued. You know.
Intrigued.
I am enjoying this in all the wrong ways.
I think so
same,
too.
Like, don't get me wrong, the story is nice, but so much of the metatextual elements of this, between the tongue-in-cheek of the back and forth on, well, is it even okay to help this guy? But, like, we're gonna help him anyway, but is it okay to? Who is he? And, you know, or whether it's being on the ship and it's like, ah, yes, this great noble person who gives a recommendation and then is Sir no longer appearing in this book.
Yeah.
Or, like, they get this guy and pump him up so he's like fantastic, and it's like he was only there for the intro scene. Why? This is as bad as one of those RPGs where like one of the supporting characters comes in, one shots a boss for you, and then is like just kind of maybe in the party.
Yeah, I mean, this is par for the course for romantic writing, I have to say. So, yeah, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I'm having a good time. but
Everything is larger
it's-
than life. Everything is like a weird problem for no reason. It's great.
Okay, everything is a weird problem for no reason does describe my life, so thanks for that. Guess I'm just living the romance dream.
Living a romantic life, Celine.
You know?
Alrighty. Let me see if I have any raid
was
targets.
fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Oh, you've got raid targets. There are plenty.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I have somebody, so yeah. But no, Soup, it was very good of you to join us. How did you find the Reading Renegades anyway?
Oh my gosh, I'm friends with Baljeet.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Of course he doesn't show up.
I know. Literally.
Oh, poor
No.
guy.
I can't with him. No, yeah, we're friends. We met. I don't remember if I think he rated me one day, and it's either he rated me one day or I rated him one day, and then we just became friends. And we
That's
like
sweet.
streamed together. I know. And then we like we play D&D together outside of stream. He is my DM. Like we just became friends. And then he had told me that he does this with Satil, and he was like, "Would you be interested? Would you like want to read?" And I was like, "Okay," because I'm just down for things. I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds fun. Like I'm down." I didn't know that this is a thing, and he was just like, "Yeah, come." And I'm like,
Yep.
"Okay,
Yep.
cool."
Public domain
And now
reading.
you're here and we get to enjoy you.
I know. Now I'm here and I get to enjoy y'all. That's great. I'm so glad that he invited me. Hilarious. He's not here though. Hilarious. I can't with him. But also, and I told you this, Celine. It's like, man, I know him well enough to know that he must have been really tired.
Yeah,
For
very
him
tired.
to say that, yeah, like he doesn't like canceling. So it's like, no, he must have been really, really tired.
But the dude's got
Yeah.
2 kids. Like, And
He has
probably
responsibilities.
prepping a bunch of stuff for the upcoming school year is going.
Oh yeah, that's starting in a couple
hectic,
weeks,
so.
isn't it?
Y'all, I think he already started. I think he started like this week.
Oh, okay.
Oh dang.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why
okay,
I made
there you go.
plans. Yeah, that's why. That's why I was like, no, he's exhausted. He must be exhausted for him to do that because no, he's usually down too. But yeah, he had asked me and I was like, yeah, it sounds really fun. And well, now I'm here. But this was fun. I like it.
All right, we got
Thank you.
Khan playing Doom. We got Akira playing Marvel Rivals. We got Mags playing Pal Worlds. Those are the 3 raid targets I'm looking at right. What else? Do we have anything? Do we have any reading targets? Carry on the reading vibes.
Well, I do see Cryptid Roots is going right now.
Okay.
So that would be reading audience submitted stories and providing editing and advice.
That sounds
So
good to me.
that's kind of the first one I was looking at, given what our content is. But there's also Delta Free, who is doing a game called Abzu. But
okay.
Delta Free is somebody who doesn't stream very often and is particularly friend-shaped, so either one of those would be my recommendations.
All right, let's give it to Delta Free.
Alrighty. Let me toss that name over to you here.
Okay. Are you gonna do that
so
on
you can
Discord
remember how
or?
to- Where would you like it?
Go ahead and put it in the Twitch chat, and then I'll just copy paste.
Oh, Twitch chat. Right. Got it. This one.
Yes.
Boom.
Por favor. Drop the I at the end. There we go. Okay, we are rating Delta Free. Playing Abzu. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me and taking a chance on this book. It's a lot of fun so far. So, yeah. I don't know. More reading plans soon in the future. Anne of Avonlea and La Gaviota. So,
Oh, heck
Sounds
yeah.
good.
let's do it.
All right, guys. I'm gonna hop off. Bye.
Nice to meet you, Soup. It was a
Take care.
Bye,
pleasure.
y'all. You too. Bye.
Bye. I'm just jamming to the music till we raid out.
Sounds reasonable.
Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. What you got going on this weekend?
Well, let's see here. Heck, I don't know that I've got things planned out very well yet.
All right. Well, I hope it's a good one.
I do. No, I'm sure it will be one way or another. No, probably just doing some 3D modeling. If it turns out I don't have a collab going on with Jello this weekend, I will probably do some editing live of my sapphic slasher novel.
5
that I was
seconds to
going be
raid.
putting
Bye,
out.
everybody.
Oh. Bye.